One of them just broke a box office record that stood for 23 years. The other just got reported to the National Assembly. 2 years ago, they were Lovely Runner, the couple that broke our hearts and rebuilt them in 12 episodes, the internet's favorite what if. In 2026, they went their separate ways and somehow ended up in completely different universes. One chose a palace. One chose a haunted reservoir. Only one of them is walking away from this year as the real winner. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you're going to have an opinion, and I guarantee it won't be the one you walked in with. Wait! Let's rewind for the people in the back. Lovely Runner 2024, Byeon Woo-seok and Kim Hye-yoon, a time-slip rom-com that wasn't supposed to be the biggest K-drama of the year, and then it was. Byeon went from that guy from a few supporting roles to a global heartthrob practically overnight. Kim Hye-yoon, already a respected name since Sky Castle, finally got the role that made critics call her the actress you can trust. That drama ended. The fandom didn't. For 2 years, every single project either of them touched got measured against Lovely Runner. Every red carpet appearance, every Instagram post. Fans have literally been refreshing news sites since 2024 asking the same question: what's next? And will it be enough? 2026 finally answered that question, just not in the way anyone expected. Byeon Woo-seok stepped into a historical fantasy romance worth millions, reuniting with one of the biggest stars in the country. Kim Hye-yoon stepped into a horror film nobody was hyping, and walked out with a title nobody saw coming. This isn't a who's more famous video. This is a comeback autopsy. We're breaking down the projects, the numbers, the public reaction, and the pressure, and we're deciding, once and for all, whose 2026 actually won. Let's start with the obvious question. What did they actually sign up for? Byeon Woo-seok went big, like MBC prestige drama with a 9-figure budget. Big. Perfect Crown. A constitutional monarchy fantasy romance, reuniting him with IU. Yes, that IU, his moon lovers. Is Scarlet Heart Ryo co-star from nearly a decade earlier? He plays a royal heir whose privilege comes with zero freedom. It's his first time back on the small screen since Lovely Runner broke him out. The internet did not stay calm, and the numbers backed up the hype. Perfect Crown posted the highest 5-day viewership for a Korean drama on its platform, charted in over 40 countries, and racked up tens of millions of hours watched globally. By the math alone, this was the safest, most calculated comeback move possible. A-list co-star, A-list writer pedigree, A-list everything. But, and we'll come back to this, safe doesn't always mean smooth, because partway through its run, Perfect Crown hit a wall nobody saw coming, backlash over historical accuracy in a coronation scene, serious enough that it became an actual agenda item, referred to South Korea's National Assembly. Let that sink in. A K-drama, government-level controversy, now flipped to Kim Hye-yoon. While Byeon was wearing royal robes on a 19th century style set, Kim Hye-yoon was crawling through a cursed reservoir in Salmokji, Whispering Water, a low-budget folk horror film about a film crew that returns to a haunted location to reshoot a scene and find something waiting for them in the water. This wasn't the safe move. This wasn't even a drama. After her previous series, Starting Today, I'm Human, underperformed and disappointed fans expecting another Lovely Runner-level hit, Kim Hye-yoon did something almost nobody predicted. She pivoted to horror, a genre she'd never led before, on a budget a fraction of Perfect Crown's. And then the film did something nobody, not the studio, not the critics, not even Shobak could have planned for. It became the highest grossing Korean horror film of all time, surpassing a box office record that had stood for 23 years. Two completely different bets. to completely different outcomes. So which one actually paid off bigger? Hold that thought. We're just getting started. Here's where it gets personal, because this isn't just about box office numbers. This is about how each of them is being perceived as actors right now. Byeon Woo-seok had one job in Perfect Crown, prove that Lovely Runner wasn't a fluke, that the chemistry, the charisma, the main character energy wasn't just a character written for him. It's something he can carry into a completely different role. And honestly, he mostly delivered. Critics and fans largely agree he brought a more restrained, controlled performance, trading the goofy charm of Ryu Seonjae for something colder, more burdened. The kind of role that says, I'm not just a rom-com pretty boy, I can do prestige drama. But here's the catch. That controversy over historical inaccuracy didn't just hurt the drama's reputation. It put him in the middle of a conversation that has nothing to do with acting talent. Suddenly, instead of Byeon Woo-seok proves his range, some of the discourse became Byeon Woo-seok's drama is under government scrutiny. That's not the narrative any actor wants attached to their big comeback. Now Kim Hye-yoon. Her challenge was almost the opposite. Nobody doubted her range. She's been doing range since Sky Castle. Her problem was momentum. Starting today, I'm Human didn't hit, and there's a brutal, unspoken rule in this industry. One flop after a massive hit, and people start asking if you peaked. So what did she do? She didn't play it safe to win back the audience. She went in the complete opposite direction. Full horror lead, carrying a film almost entirely on her own physical and emotional performance. No romantic male lead to soften the spotlight. And the result is now being called a horror queen rebrand. Critics are pointing to her performance as proof she can headline outside the rom-com box entirely. Arguably a bigger evolution than Byeon's, because hers came with zero safety net. So who actually evolved more as an actor in 2026? The one who proved he could carry a prestige drama, or the one who proved she didn't need a hit drama at all to prove herself? That question is about to get a lot messier, because we haven't even touched the fandoms yet. Let's talk shipping culture, because if you're a Lovely Runner fan, you already know. This fandom never actually left. The second Perfect Crown was announced. OTP energy discourse exploded online, even though Byeon Woo-seok's reunion was with IU, not Kim Hye-yoon. Fans flooded comment sections comparing his on-screen chemistry with IU to his chemistry with Kim Hye-yoon, debating which pairing hit different. That's free marketing money literally cannot buy. Built-in nostalgia, built-in comparison content, built-in controversy. Every clip of Byeon in Perfect Crown gets measured against Ryu Seonjae, whether the editors intended or not. Kim Hye-yoon's situation online looks completely different. And that's actually the interesting part. She didn't get the nostalgia wave. Horror isn't a shippable genre. There's no romantic lead for fans to pair her with, no slow burn tension clips going viral. Her buzz had to be earned through pure word of mouth, box office milestones, horror queen headlines, audiences specifically calling out her performance as the reason to watch. In a strange way, that might be the more impressive fan base flex. Byeon's buzz is partially inherited from a drama that ended 2 years ago. Kim Hye-yoon's buzz in 2026 is entirely hers, built from scratch in a genre she'd never led before. If you're the kind of K-drama fan who actually cares about this stuff, who tracks chemistry, who tracks comebacks, who has opinions about who deserves the bigger spotlight, this channel breaks down exactly this kind of comparison every week. Hit subscribe if you don't want to miss the next one, because we're not done shaking things up yet. Because what's coming next? It's going to completely flip how you're thinking about this comparison so far. Okay. Pause everything you just heard, because here's the part most people get completely backwards. Going into 2026, Almost everyone assumed Byeon Woo-seok had the bigger comeback locked in, bigger budget, A-list co-star, prestige network. On paper, Perfect Crown was built to dominate, and it did put up massive numbers. But biggest and best comeback story are not the same thing. Kim Hye-yoon's pivot to horror wasn't just a side project. It was a genuine risk taken from a position of weakness right after a disappointing drama. And it didn't just succeed. It became the single highest grossing Korean horror film of all time, dethroning a box office record that had survived for 23 years. Not did well for horror, not beat expectations, the actual all-time record. Meanwhile, Byeon Woo-seok's record-breaking viewership came bundled with a controversy serious enough to reach South Korea's National Assembly. His numbers are arguably bigger in raw scale, but his comeback narrative is now permanently tied to that asterisk. So here's the twist. The actor everyone assumed was playing it safe and guaranteed to win ended up with a comeback shadowed by controversy, and the actor everyone assumed was taking the riskier, smaller gamble ended up with the cleaner, more historic, more undeniable win. That changes everything about how this verdict should go, doesn't it? This comparison isn't just about what already happened, it's about what each of these comebacks sets up next. Byeon Woo-seok's 2026 doesn't stop at Perfect Crown. He's already locked in as Sung Jin-woo in Netflix's live-action adaptation of Solo Leveling, one of the most anticipated webtoon-to-screen projects in years, with a built-in global fan base from the novel, the webtoon, the anime, and the game. That's an enormous swing. Action lead, international IP, completely different muscle than anything he's done before. The industry is clearly betting big on him as a long-term leading man across genres, not just rom-com and royal drama. Kim Hye-yoon, on the other hand, is heading into No Tale to Tell, a drama where she plays a gumiho, a nine-tailed fox spirit, opposite actor Lomon. After proving she could anchor a horror film solo, this is her chance to prove the Horror Queen rebrand wasn't a one-off, that she can bring that same commanding screen presence back into drama in a role that's mythical, layered, and far from the girl-next-door energy of Lovely Runner. Here's the industry-level question worth sitting with. Which of these next moves carries more long-term weight? Byeon stepping into one of the biggest IP adaptations in the world right now? Or Kim Hye-yoon trying to prove her horror success translates back into dramatic leading lady status? Because whichever one nails their next project doesn't just win 2026, they set the tone for who becomes the bigger name across the next 5 years. This is the question that actually decides everything. Who is carrying more weight right now? Byeon Woo-seok's pressure is the pressure of scale. He's not just an actor anymore. He's becoming an industry bet. Studios are pouring resources into him, expecting franchise-level returns. Every project from here forward gets compared not just to Lovely Runner, but to Perfect Crown's record numbers and its controversy. He has to prove the backlash was a footnote, not a pattern. And with Solo Leveling, he's stepping into a fandom that is famously, brutally unforgiving if the adaptation doesn't live up to the source material. That's a different kind of pressure. Global, scrutinized, no margin for error. Kim Hye-yoon's pressure is quieter, but arguably sharper. She's not fighting for a bigger budget. She's fighting for a narrative. Right now, she's the actress who turned a flop into a record-breaking comeback. That's an incredible story, but it's also fragile. If No Tale to Tell underperforms, the horror queen can-do-anything actress narrative collapses fast, and she's right back to inconsistent headlines. She has less room for a second comeback than Byeon does, because the industry tends to give bankable male leads more chances than it gives actresses navigating the same pattern. So, who has more pressure? The one with the bigger spotlight and the bigger fall risk? or the one with the smaller spotlight and the smaller margin for error? That's not an easy answer. And honestly, it's about to get harder. All right, let's lay this out like a case file, because neither side wins this cleanly. For Byeon Woo-seok, record-breaking viewership, a reunion with one of the biggest stars in the country, proof he can carry prestige drama, and one of the most anticipated global IP adaptations of the decade lined up next. His ceiling right now is arguably the highest in the entire industry. Against him, a controversy serious enough to reach the National Assembly, attached permanently to his biggest 2026 project. And the kind of pressure where one more misstep gets magnified by how big a star he's already become. For Kim Hye-yoon, a genuine creative risk that paid off bigger than anyone predicted, an all-time box office record, a complete reputation reset from promising but inconsistent to horror queen who can headline anything, and a clean, controversy-free win. Against her, a smaller scale of buzz, no franchise-level project lined up yet, and a narrative that's only as strong as her next project proves it to be. So who actually won 2026? The actor with the bigger numbers and the bigger asterisk, or the actress with the smaller spotlight and the cleaner, more historic victory? Here's my honest read. If we're talking sheer scale and industry trajectory, Byeon Woo-seok is positioned to be the bigger name long-term. But if we're talking about the purest comeback story, the one with no controversy, no asterisk, just a flop to record breaker arc, Kim Hye-yoon's 2026 is, frankly, the better story. And maybe that's the real answer. They didn't even compete in the same category. One played the safest, biggest bet possible and got both the reward and the risk that comes with it. The other took the riskier swing and got the cleaner win. So I'm putting it to you. Who actually had the better 2026 comeback? The prince with the record numbers and the controversy, or the horror queen with the record-breaking, controversy-free run? Drop your verdict below. And if you're already drafting your essay defending your bias, good. That's exactly the kind of chaos this channel lives for. If you want to be here for the next one, because trust me, there's another comeback comparison already brewing. You know what to do before you go. See you in the next one.